tributes they have in the paper. Yeah. Just go back and find the Deseret News about, when did he die? 6 weeks ago or so, a couple of months ago? Yeah.
We have a question here. We're going to take two more questions. She's next, and then you, and we'll do one more.
I wasn't here yesterday, so I missed out, and I'm very impressed with all of you. This is going to be kind of a reverse question. I need everybody, excuse me, can you hear me? I need everybody's help because I'm leaving the church and I'm an extremely prominent family. I don't really want this taped and I'm nervous. I spoke out at Sunstone once and I got in trouble, and I was terrified that the strengthening of the church committee would find me and excommunicate me. And I know too much. It's my problem. I grew up with all these people. I grew up with Tom Monson. One of the other prophets is my uncle. They were in my home growing up. My father was manager of the Deseret News, and he would come home and say, there are so many things I'm not allowed to print because I have to meet every week with the general authorities, and they tell me what I print and what I can't print. I remember as a little child thinking, that is really scary. He's a journalist and he can't print certain things because they go against the church. And I started questioning things then, but I was so uncertain because these people were surrounding me and I was related to them. And I live in terror and I live in fear, and I desperately need a home where I feel safe. My husband is extremely active. He's been a bishop and high counselor. I guess he brought me down today, but I'm terrified. I really know this is not the truth. I've lived it. I actually had to go to Tom Monson once, and I had to say, please do not use my parents as an example. He was using my parents as an example almost at every conference address as the most outstanding family in the church. And our family was crumbling. I had to go and beg him and say, do not use our family, please. And I ended up telling him some things about my family. All these are very crazy stories, but I know these people too well. And I know too much, and I read too much. But I actually live in terror and fear. I'm actually terrified right now. And I need a home.
You're home with us.
You're
home.
My grandchildren are growing up in the church, and I can't go to any weddings and all of that because I don't have a temple recommend, and people are always saying, I can't believe you're this way, look at who you are and related to, and I'm always judged. And I can really tell you how judgment feels when you're on this side. And I'm always told that I'm making the wrong decision. And I've had so many miracles in my life, and why aren't you believing them? What's wrong with you? I can't tell you how many times I've been asked what's wrong with you. And I just have a question. I need help because I don't know what to ask. That's just where I am.
I think you're in the right place, and let's make sure we connect you with some communities of people who can provide you support and
I would
friendship.
love a support group or something like that.
I think we've got several people, and I'm going to suggest that the people who, I'm looking at one, who should go find you, take a good look at her and go find her after we're done here. Or right now you can sneak over.
Probably not appropriate to say what I'm saying, but I have to say it.
Absolutely. Super appropriate. It's appropriate.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're in the right place. The last presidential election, somebody very prominent church, I think his name was Mitt, I think he was supposed to save the Constitution. I'm kind of curious, where does the church go now with politics? It feels like it's kind of lost. I have a lot of family members that are just totally disillusioned, and it feels like wherever the church goes, all the members go in terms of a voting bloc. So it's really unclear if there's someone that's going to emerge to kind of save the church, especially since, you know, Mormons and the Constitution in the U.S. are so wrapped up together. I'm just curious. I don't know if anyone wants to take a crack at that.
I'd like to hear Earl's comments on that when you're done.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I can start just real quick. When I talked to general authorities about this, that few of them, many of them really, I don't know all of them, but the one I talked to are more afraid from it because he could probably change the church more than what we do because they can feel like he can put pressure on the church so he can be a good president, you know. Like some other question like LGBT and women and things that he probably would have a lot more influences than those who are ex. That's what I said.
Sue, I don't know why you continue to involve me in this.
I think your perspective as being someone who's been around for a long time.
Okay,
You
thank
probably
you.
know a lot about the politics.
Well, I'm probably as discouraged with politics in Utah as anyone in the room. Very right-wing, and I'm liberal. So it's difficult. Where's the church going? I don't know. I just don't know. I can't see it getting any more liberal, but I don't know how it cannot get more liberal. And I guess that's about all I have to say.
As a newbie to this conference, and maybe it's appropriate for a final comment, I just want to thank you all for what you've made a difference in our lives, but especially for Hans and Brigitte. It was your interview on the New York Times that made a difference in our family's life and brought us to where we are. We so appreciate you, and even though it's been a very painful trip for us, and our families don't understand us, we would rather stay on the side of truth, and it means a world to us. So thank you for your courage in what it's done for us. In relation to that, it just really seems the avalanche of information is just coming so strong now. And in the past, you could always say, well, all this stuff is anti-Mormon lies, until the church came out with the essays saying, no, all those things are actually true, and here's the spin. And now with October, with the Searstone article, it just is so blatant of how this stuff is not what we've been taught. And being raised in a black and white culture, I would like to ask the panel to pull out your Searstones and give us your thoughts on how long will it take my family to understand we're not crazy.
Okay, you Sears up there.
Well, Sue, you gave away this seer stone last night. Sue gave away my seer stone.
I don't want to get more of them.
I'm gonna have to ask Google. I'll be back.
I think seriously, I think the church has given up on this generation, and they really, really like to save the next generation. That's what I think happened with the church. And that's the reason why they now teach the real history. But they, of course, they are biased in the way they present it, but at least that's what I do.
I just say keep an eye on Mormonism internationally, especially in the developing world, where they may not everybody in every country that may become a Mormon may have the access to the internet or may not have the linguistic skills necessary to learn what our generation and our children are learning with the click of a mouse button. Keep an eye on that, and I would speculate that there is a lot of speculation going on in church headquarters about how they're going to fight that battle once the international church, which now is just as big or bigger than the domestic church, gets some communication ability and starts learning what we have learned.
This has been really great this morning, and I think we could go on for another 2 hours, but people are tired, people have planes to catch. I want to thank you for coming. I want you back there who said you needed a community and a friendship. There are plenty of people who will be contacting you if you'll give them some safe contact information, because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of groups, and being this, I keep thinking all weekend, I think it was you, Brigitte, when we was online and you said something about, when I was going back and forth with them, discussing their coming, about coming here and being with their tribe. And that word just encompasses it to me. And I kept thinking that all weekend, this is the tribe, this is our tribe. And I'm actually reading a very interesting book right now. It's mostly just historical telling of what led up to the settlements in the West and the Indian Wars and the Revolution. And this whole discussion about how closely tied the church has been to the whole story of the birth of America. I mean, I remember, I grew up in the 50s, and it was just so, I mean, that was the Bircher, Benson era. And I just thought it was all one and the same, you know. I didn't divide it in my mind at that time. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thanks for your support. And did you have something? Oh, great, thank you. Cliff has been willing to set some time aside here. He's going to have a meetup, post-conference discussion and social time at 2 p.m. at the Red Rock Brew Pub. And I think most of you local people know where that is. In fact, that was the first brew pub I was ever in where I met a group of ex-Mormons who were meeting there. That was the place in Salt Lake that they first started, being so wicked. So it has a lot of history. All right, we'll disband now, and be sure you pick up your things, double check your rooms, and thank you again for coming.